Hello, friends. Once again, welcome to our YouTube channel. I hope you like our videos.
The elder sister rushes outside, panic and anxiety clearly evident on her face. But then, as she looks ahead, she stops breathing. Her face turns pale and she falls unconscious to the ground. Lufan grabs her, his heart pounding. He asks desperately, "Sister, what happened to you? Are you okay?" The elder sister's eyelids flutter and she slowly opens her eyes. Her voice hides pain, but she tries to smile. "Nothing, just an old injury that probably hasn't healed with time," she says softly. Lufan's heart sinks, but what's even more mysterious is the man standing in front of her, watching everything quietly. There was no expression on his face, but there was a strange calm in his eyes. She slowly stands up, her movements still showing weakness. Fresh blood still drips from the corner of her lips, which drips down to her chin. Her gaze is steady, flat, but something smolders inside. She stares at him, as if there is an unfulfilled promise burning behind her eyes. Lufan walks towards her and asks in a concerned tone, "Hey, are you hurt? How did I not know?" But just then, the man standing in front of her speaks with a slow, yet extremely dangerous smile. "Oh, I really forgot. The wounds Wang Yuan left inside your body won't heal in a month." There is no mercy in his words, only contempt and intimidation. He takes a step forward and a cold gleam appears in his eyes. "With a body and mind like yours, dare to take on the Long and Huang families. This is foolish. Believe me, there is still time, think it through before making a decision." Lufan took a step forward and said firmly, "Big sister doesn't agree with you. So you should stop thinking about it now." His words were neither afraid nor hesitant. Big sister turned to him in shock. A shadow of fear appeared in her eyes. She knew that the man standing in front of her was deadly not only with his words but also with his actions. She was afraid that Lufan's audacity might get her killed. But just then, the mysterious man's smile faded. His voice came out low, but full of venom. "Oh, such a big family. And now their hopes are pinned on an innocent boy who has just started earning his bread." He leans towards Lufan as if playing the last move of a game. "Sire, I almost forgot." He smiled wryly, then said with a sharp tone, "We must now declare you the great hero of the Dragon Nation." Of his words were a bitter mockery, like someone rubbing salt into a wound. Big sister's breathing became rapid. Lufan's eyes burned, but he said nothing. Not yet. The elder sister's face had become even more gloomy. The passion and fearless courage in Lufan's eyes worried her. She slowly walked up to him and put a hand on his shoulder and said, "Isebs Lufan, don't worry about it. The battle between Long, Huang and the other powerful families in the western regions is something beyond what ordinary people can imagine. It's dangerous." Her voice was trembling, as if there was some unspoken fear hidden in every word. But a smile appeared on Lufan's face. He was not one to be afraid. He was someone who had learned the definition of relationships was not just to take, but to give back. "You have always helped me," he said in a deep voice. "Ness, and today when I have the chance to help you, I can't just stand by and watch." The man standing in front of her stared at her silently. Then, a slow, mysterious smile appeared on his lips, as if he was accepting Lufan's challenge in his own way. The man who had been hurting with his words, until now suddenly stepped forward and looked Lufan straight in the eye and said in a sharp voice, "Hey son, it seems you are indeed going to be given the title of hero, but you will have to pay for it with your life." He had a slight smile on his face, but his eyes were filled with deadly hatred, as if he would attack any moment. "Do you really think," he said with venom, "that winning a few small battles has made you invincible?" The air had become heavy. The elder sister's breath caught. But Lufan, he didn't move. He was still standing in the same place, head held high, eyes steady and the same confident smile on his lips. "At least," he said firmly, "I am strong enough to deal with the likes of you." His tone was calm, but his words were full of fire. The cloaked man remained silent for a few moments. Suddenly, a voice cut through the quiet air. Brother Lufan." Lufan turned around in surprise. His eyes flashed with surprise for a moment, and then recognition immediately. Behind him, his team members had appeared from the clouds of dust. Everyone stood firmly in their place, gleaming swords in their hands, the same determination in their eyes. At the forefront was Andra, the huge warrior, his heavy axe on his shoulder. He laughed and said, "You don't need to make any move now, brother. We are here. He will learn a lesson today." There was pride in his voice and also an insistence that Lufan is not alone. But Lufan raised his hand with a slight smile. "No," he said firmly, "there is no need for this fight." His words were simple, but they echoed wisdom and foresight. He wasn't afraid of fighting, but he knew that not every battle was fought with a sword. Meanwhile, another familiar figure emerged from the crowd. Xiao Ji. Lightning flashed through her eyes as if she couldn't wait a moment longer. Her steps were swift, and her movements were full of uncontrollable energy. "Now," she said irritably. "How long can we just talk?" But then a bright smile returned to Lufan's face, the kind he only gave when everything was pre-arranged. He said in a firm voice, This lunch box is a gift from me to this family from the western regions." The robed man standing in front of him paused for a moment. The man's smile had faded. Waves of anger were running across his face, and his eyes were now glowing like embers. Suddenly, purple glowing energy surged around him as if the sky was about to burst. He bellowed a slogan, sent an ancient divine mantra, which echoed through the air like an arrow. Then the sky seemed to have burst. Thousands of swords, made of purple energy, appeared in the air. They were glowing in every direction, a warning of an unspoken war about to begin. "Hey," he roared, his voice deafening. "How dare a clown like you make such a scene in front of me?" The tension had now risen to pierce the silence. It seemed as if war was now inevitable. But then a voice rose above the deafening thunder. The elder sister's voice, Sas Long Jing. She spoke firmly, her voice filled with warning, not fear. "Do you want to break our agreement?" She stepped forward, standing between Lufan and the fuming Luang. "Calm down," she said in a low but deep voice. Big Sister's restrained request was still hanging in the air when Xiao Ji's eyes blazed with fire. "Ahanof," she roared. Waves of energy burst out of her body, and in the next moment, Shida's rushed Long Jin at lightning speed. Long Jin hadn't even fully deployed his swords before Xiao Ji pulled him into the air by the neck and kicked him hard in the chest. "Seh." He collided with the window and fell out with a loud bang. The glass shattered, and his body hit the ground and fell into a pile of rubble. Long Jin was barely visible, buried amidst dust and rocks. Xiao Ji pointed at him in anger and roared, "How dare he challenge my master?" His words were like arrows in the air. Everyone could see the loyalty and anger in his eyes. Lufan turned serious now. He walked towards the rubble with Xiao Ji. The two slowly reached the place where Long Jin lay. Among the dust, rocks, and broken walls, he was still breathing, but his body did not look badly injured. Come out, Long Jin," Lufan said in a stern but composed voice. If you still have any strength left in you, come out and fight." Lying in the rubble, Long Jin was breathing heavily, but his arrogance was still alive. Then suddenly, the dust clouds moved. Smoke began to rise around him, and his figure slowly emerged from the rubble. His face was now stained with anger, but his eyes had a new gleam. Dangerous, unwavering. He turned his head, spat on the ground, and then said in a resonant, deep voice, "Hey, Lufan, you're really in trouble now." He stood up straight, put his palms together, and muttered an ancient incantation. The sound of the incantation reverberated in the air, as if an ancient power had been awakened. Suddenly, a glowing powerhouse appeared in his palm, vibrating with energy. That powerhouse was no ordinary one, with purple and black flames surrounding it. "That's why I just wanted to punish you a little," he said in a slow and cold voice, "but now it seems I'll teach you a good lesson." And at that moment, countless sharp swords appeared from all directions. They cut through the air, heading toward Lufan and his group. Each sword carried lightning, each a warning. As countless sharp swords floated into the air, Xiao Ji didn't hesitate for a moment. A gust of wind rushed through the air. His body became a glowing line. But then Lufan, standing on the ground, smiled. A calm but heavy smile. He still stood in front of Long Jin, not at all perturbed. "I've changed my mind too," he said deeply. His tone was no longer light. It was like the silence that comes before a storm. "Xiao Ji," he called out loudly, "change your base. It's time to take on World Destroyer form." The air suddenly became heavy. As Lufan commanded, World Destroyer disguise. Lightning flashed in Xiao Ji's eyes. A fiery flame of energy rose up around her body, first blue, then black, and then deep red. The ancient symbols on her body glowed, as if a legendary seal had been broken. The next moment, flames shot out of her mouth, blazing, roaring, tearing through the sky. She was no longer just Xiao Ji. She was the incarnation of the Black Dragon. Her eyes no longer held blazing fire, but the rage of the old world. Now her strength, agility, energy, endurance, everything had increased tremendously. The wind was slowing down around her. As she arrived right in front of the flying enemy, Long Jin, he froze for a moment. "Zara," he muttered. "This is no ordinary warrior. This is the power of the most powerful being in the world. No matter how powerful the dragon is. Today, I will be its killer." Jilong's voice was resonant and hateful. His eyes were burning with jealousy, and his soul was flaming with arrogance. But just as he thought of attacking, Lufan simply raised a hand. Xiao Ji, his voice was resonant, but Cold's used the power of pressure. Now Xiao Ji spread his arms in the air without wasting a moment, and then a strange energy began to spread around him. That was no ordinary energy. This was pressure, a force that not only crushes the body, but also as the mind and the soul. As this pressure began to spread throughout the area, as the air became heavy, as the ground trembled, as the sky seemed to bend, as Jilong could no longer stand still. For the first time, fear was on his face. His body began to shake. His hands, which were about to release the sword, were seized. What kind of power is this? He muttered to himself. I can't move my hands, my legs have sunk into the ground. Is this the power of the dragon? His mind was tingling. Fear on one side, arrogance on the other. He then took a deep breath and composed himself as he said, if it was anyone else, he would have fallen to his knees by now. But Alice, you're running into the Jilong family. And just as he finished the sentence, he got up with what little strength he had left and launched his countless swords at Xiao Ji with all his might. The swords shot out like lightning, cutting through the air and coming at Xiao Ji. Your dragon will not survive now. The man's voice was arrogant. His swords resounded in the air. Beyond count, each sword had a murderous intent. As those swords rushed towards Xiao Ji, everyone thought, something will break now. But, Chan. Each sword fell down as if hitting an invisible wall. Not even a scratch. Xiao Ji stood as firm, surrounded by fire, as with the dignity of a dragon. The enemy's eyes widened, sweat appeared on his forehead. What are you kidding? My swords can't even touch them. How is that possible? He was stunned. Just then, Sazin Lufan slowly appeared, his movements confident, like a lion approaching its prey. Look carefully, he said, his voice deep and cold. This is the difference in ultimate power. Did you really think that you could kill my dragon like that? The enemy's face had turned white and then, as Xiao Ji pulled his head back, and then a fierce, fiery roar echoed across the field. Esquire. But the sound was so terrifying that as the earth shook, the air stood still, as the birds in the sky shrieked and fell. The enemy's ears burst, and blood oozed out. He fell to the ground, writhing in pain, screaming. Stop. This isn't a sound, this is hell. His hair flew in the air, his body shook. He was completely helpless. And then as Xiao Ji leapt into the air, rushed forward, and as she pulled out her strong, fiery claw, and smashed it right into the enemy's face, Hachiyu dim. The ground shook, a storm of dust rose, and the enemy fell several meters away into a pit. He was now lying on the ground, badly bleeding, blood running down his lips, his breathing heavy, fear in his eyes. He was no longer the invincible he once was. Now he was just a defeated warrior, whose defeat was clearly visible on his face. Stop, I give up, he said in a trembling voice. But Xiao Ji didn't waste a moment. She rushed forward like lightning and grabbed him completely with her burning claws. Now he couldn't even move. Only his neck was out of the ground. He was in a state like a hunter having completely cornered his prey. There was silence all around, only his gasping sounds could be heard. Just then, Lufan came close to him. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp enough to make his enemies tremble. He bent down and said in cold but firm voice, Essex, I'll give you a piece of advice. Now keep quiet. And if you want to save your life, get out of here quietly. He paused and then pointed at Xiao Ji and said, because you are beyond the ability to defeat my dragon. And remember, I already told you, I won't need to fight you. His words were neither arrogance nor cruelty, only a truth that even a defeated enemy could not deny. My dragon will defeat you. Jilong was still crushed under the claw, defeated, broken but not without pride. There were tears in his eyes of anger and humiliation. Lufan, he said in a trembling voice. Now the Long family will not spare you. You will have to pay a heavy price for this. But Lufan was calm. Without saying a word, he pulled out the sword from his back, its blade glistening in the sun. He bowed and said in a cold voice, remember I did not kill you. Not because I fear the Long or Huang families, but so that you can return. And go tell them that after a month, I will return to the western regions with my elder sisters, and then I will come to settle scores, not to demand answers. His voice echoed through the earth, the direction and the mind. He then turned his head and ordered, Xiao Ji, say goodbye now. Xiao Ji's eyes were full of fire. She clasped the enemy in her claws once again and slowly rose up into the air. Hopefully next time I won't have to show weakness, she hissed. And then, as a terrible screams, as a deafening roar, and then she hurled him into the sky with all her might. The body flew into the sky like a blazing star, and finally lost into the infinite heights of the sky.